This is audio check. Oh, thank you. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
可以听得到，没问题，但是也可以看得到。
可以看到吗？
我把你设为联席主持人。
好的。信号怎么样呀？
信号很好，然后画面很清晰。
好的，谢谢。那我们等到7点半开始，还是现在？
好的，再等会儿，现在才17个人。
没关系，没关系，多少人都可以。Hello, guys.
前2天都是美女，这次是帅哥。
来人。我现在在后置开始。So I'm gonna show you a bit of the museum right now. So this is the front yard, some trees, and the main hall, exhibition hall. And, it's 4:15. Oh no, it's 4:20 p.m. in Xi'an. 你想好了没有？这样我就可以看到他们的问题了。你有多少？下好了是吗？我给你发一下我的那个什么。
En attendant, donc je vous répète l'information. À cause du changement d'heure, à partir d'aujourd'hui, les visites culturelles se feront à partir de 10h30. Et les cours de chinois dans l'après-midi vont commencer à partir de 14h. De 15h, pardon, de 15h au lieu de 14h. Puisqu'il y a beaucoup de classes internationales avec tous les pays, on va partir à partir de l'heure de Pékin. Donc, 10h30 pour la découverte culturelle et 15h pour le cours de chinois. Merci. Tout à l'heure, pendant la visite, si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à allumer votre micro pour les poser directement à notre collègue, ou bien vous pouvez très bien écrire dans la boîte de dialogue à côté.
OK. 看着评论了。So, my name is Ray. I will be your docent today. Is everyone here? Are everyone here? No. So, let's begin today's class. Welcome to join this class. Today I'm gonna show you the museum here. Right, so I only know English and a bit of Russian. So if you have any questions, just ask me in English or Chinese. This is a quite big challenge for me because it's a pretty fresh experience for me because it's the first time that I have online class with foreigners. I am the docent of this Shaanxi History Museum for like 4 years, and so today I'm gonna show you some of the artifacts and relics and the history of Shaanxi province. But first, this is the main hall of our museum. It's pretty big. Okay, let's go inside. I mean, if you have any questions, you just ask. I have an assistant here, so she can check all those messages, so I can reply you anytime, on time. Any questions, just ask. So this museum is called the Shaanxi History Museum. It's one of the biggest museums in China with over 1.7 million artifacts. I mean, we all know that Shaanxi used to be the capital of 13 dynasties in China. So we found the loss of artifacts in this place. That's the reason why this museum has so many artifacts. So when we entrance this main hall, at first we can see a huge line. It's called giant stone walking line. Anyway, it's just a stone line. So when we look at this line, there's a question, which is, did we have lines in China? I mean, did we have this creature in China? The answer is no. Like, lines were from Africa, from India. In ancient China, we didn't have this creature. But you see, we have all those stone lines. But why do we have them? The answer is 2,000 years ago, a man called Zhang Qian, he built a road called Silk Road. Because of Silk Road, other countries, they send some lines to our country as a tribute. So the artisan, the people can see line from China because other countries sent this as a gift to us. That's the reason why we have lines. But 2,000 years ago, we didn't have a zoo, you see. We didn't have a zoo. Not all people have the chance to see a real line. The reason why most of the lines, they don't look like a real line, perhaps they have never seen a real line. They just imagine it and created their own line. In China, lines represent power, the power of the emperor. So we used to put them on the surface of a mausoleum or the tomb to protect the tomb, or put them in front of the door to protect our house. So this is also tomb guardian, giant stone walking line. So the reason why we put the line in the beginning is because we didn't have lines, we didn't have this creature, but we have stone lines. It's a symbol of culture exchange. Now that is a cute little girl. Let's go. So we have 3 galleries to visit today. Even though we have 1.7 million artifacts in this museum, but we won't have the chance to see all artifacts. Today we are going to see 3,000 of them, and because we only have 90 minutes, so I will select the most important artifacts to show you the history of Shaanxi province. So this is the first gallery. So this is a map of Shaanxi province. So the reason why we put a map in the beginning is we try to tell you the reason why our city used to be the capital of 13 dynasties. You see, so this is the map of Shaanxi province. You see, the north part of Shaanxi province is called the Louis Plateau. Do you know what is called plateau? It's a highline. The middle part of Shaanxi province is called the central lowland. And the south part of Shaanxi province is called the mountainous regions. You see, in the middle is a big plain. And the north is mountains, is plateau. And the south is mountainous regions. So the middle plain was surrounded by mountains. You see, even for a normal normal person, it's very hard, difficult for him to climb a mountain. So if for an army, a large amount of army, the soldiers, when they take swords and horses, they cannot climb them. So those mountains, they are like walls, natural walls. They can protect us. And in the middle of this plain, you can see a river. It's called the Wei River. It's the biggest range river of Yellow River. So we have a water and food and the natural walls to protect us. That's the reason why Xi'an city can be the capitals of 13 dynasties. Amazing, right? So the first section is called the prehistorical period. And here we can see a sculpture. This is called the Lantian. This is Homo, not this is a Homo erectus. Do you know Homo erectus? Anyway, this is a Homo erectus, the earliest human being we found in our province. You see, our museum is called the Shaanxi History Museum. It's not the Shaanxi Province Museum, which means this museum didn't. We don't just show the history of this province. We show the whole of the state, every district, the whole part, anyway, the Shaanxi area. This part, the culture of this part, and this is the skull bone and the jawbone we found in Lantian County. You see, this man is called the Lantian Homo erectus. The reason why he was called Lantian Homo erectus because his skull bone and the jawbone were discovered in Lantian County, and this is the skull bone and jawbone. He was a person from 1.15 million years ago, the earliest Homo erectus we found. Compared with human right now, you see the brain capacity is quite different. I mean, this guy, he didn't have a forehead, which means his brain capacity is pretty small, only 780 millimeters, only the half size of human right now. The earliest people we found in our province. This is a little introduction about this part. It's called the prehistorical time, from 1.63 million years ago to the 21st century BC. And those are the stone tools at this time. You see, the biggest difference between human beings and animals is we know how to use tools. We use stone to make tools. Oh, here, what happened? Okay, so we know how to use stone to make tools. That's a big difference. The biggest difference between human and animals. But you see the stone tools right now, they are not really sophisticated. You see, most of the stone tools, they didn't have handles. Do you know handles? Like something to hold. Because they didn't have handles, do you know the way they used to, how did people use those stone tools? You see, there's a picture here. You see, they just grab the stones and use them at animals. But animals are pretty fast, right? Human, we cannot run fast like animals. We didn't have claws. So for male, it's pretty difficult to hunt animals. But for female, the female can collect fruits and they can have babies. So in the beginning of human history, the female is the, how to say that, is the leader of a village. It's called, in the beginning of the human civilization, the female come to the society because they can have babies, right? The male, they cannot hunt too many animals. The female, they domain the society. But here is different. This is 1,000 years ago. You see the Klein life, the Laoguantai culture period. This was from 9,000 years ago. At this part, we can see many pottery. The pottery is one of the most important invention for Asian people because with pottery, you can make a lot of new things. Like you can make a pot, right? When you have a pot, you can use them to cook food. So in the beginning, people only eat barbecue, but now they have a pot, you can eat cooking food. And here is also a very interesting artifact. This one looks like a bowl, a pot. But when you look from this place, because there are many holes here. Holes. So what's the function of this? You use this one with a pot. You put the water in the pot and boil the water. This is a steamer. Do you know steamer? That's the thing we use to make dumplings. It's pretty interesting. And here we can see other pottery vessels. You see most of them, the color of them is white color. Because when people make those stuff, they put some painting on the surface of those pottery vessels to make it look pretty. This is the huge development of human civilization. Guys, do you have any questions? If you have any questions, just ask them in English so that I can know you didn't fall asleep. Okay, let's keep going. And this part is from 5,000 years ago. You can see a new stone tool. This is a stone tool with a hole inside. Look at this hole. What's the reason? Why did people put a hole in the middle of the stone tool? This is because people, they can put a wood stick inside and use the rope to tie them together and make the stone tool with handle. So now that we have a more efficient tools, we can grow more food to eat. We can feed ourselves. When people have enough food to eat, we can begin to make alcohol. We use the rest of the food to make alcohol. You see, there is a wine cup. Another wine cup is like a liquor cup, like Chinese alcohol. We call them baijiu right now. And this is a wine vessel. It's not like wine, more like cigar. Because in the beginning of all human civilization, alcohol was made of food, like apples, like pears. In China, it's more like rice and other grains, like a Japanese sake and Korean soju. They were all made by food. Because they were made by food, so the alcohol is not pretty strong. And in the beginning of Chinese history, all the alcohol, they are not really strong. Only 20%, I think. And here we can see some jade vessels. So what's jade? This is a very important part for Chinese history and Chinese culture. What is jade? So we all heard of jade. In Chinese, it's called yu. So what is yu? And in the beginning of Chinese history, we regarded all beautiful stones as jade. So which means jade, they are just beautiful stones. You see glasses, like a diamond, amber, we all call them jade. And here is just beautiful stones. So what's the function of them? They are sacrifices. They are ritual implements. We call them li qi. So like in the beginning of, Chinese history, that we have solved the question of feed ourselves. So we can feed ourselves. We begin to try to think about the nature. Why there is the world? Why the sky? Why there is a mountain? Why there is a river? Why the sky will rain? And I'll say that, like why there are raindrops? Why there will have snow? They can't imagine the nature, so they created some gods. They created religions. Like the reason why the sky can rain because there is a rain god, the god of the rain. So to one day when the people don't want the god to have more rains, so he will kill some goats or cows and send them to those gods. Those are sacrifices. I don't know if I explained it right. So that's the reason why we have sacrifices. That's the reason why we have a ritual implements. They are gifts for God. And those are some ritual implements, jade. In the beginning, they are sacrifices, but after hundreds of years, they became a very popular decorations. Right? This is the first section, the prehistoric time. To tell 4,000 years ago, China has had our first dynasty. Chinese first dynasty is called Xia dynasty. The second dynasty is called Shang dynasty. And this is Zhou period. Zhou dynasty was the third dynasty in Chinese history. So this is the third dynasty in Chinese history. Right? Zhou. The reason why we talk about Zhou dynasty at first is because Zhou dynasty was the first dynasty which set its capital in Xi'an city. This is Xi'an Shaanxi History Museum. We mainly talk about history of Shaanxi province. And here we can see a model of a palace. This is called the Palace of Fengchu. Fengchu means baby phoenix, a very typical 四合院 in China. Do you know 四合院? A very typical building in Chinese history. It looks like a huge square. Usually Chinese buildings were made of wood because it's made of wood instead of stones. So it's easy to rot. After 2,000 years or 1,000 years, even after 200 years, those stone buildings will begin to rot and gradually disappear. You can see the stone castles and the stone walls right now, but you can't see ancient Chinese buildings because the material of those buildings are not stones. They are easy to rot. And this is the model of a palace. In this palace, the historical site, this model was a model of a palace. In this historical site, we found lots of construction materials. And here you can see some of them. And those are called tile. Tile is the cover of the roof. And this is the end of the tile. It's called the tile end. Do you know that in Chinese, it's called wa dang? Wa dang. This is called the wa. So to make the wood buildings last longer, we use some tile to cover the wood part so the rain won't damage them. Those are some construction materials we use to protect the wood buildings. And here is very interesting. Do you know what's the function of this? The function of this thing, this actually is a water pipe. Do you know water pipe? We bury them underground to let the wastewater leave the city. The reason why we have the water pipe is because the size of the city is getting larger and larger, so we need to use them. At the same time, I believe the Roman Empire also have the water pipe, but the material they use is lead. We use pottery. It's cheaper and safer. Do you have any questions? I see nobody have any questions. The history is quite interesting because only when we learn history, we can know the human civilization better. That's the reason why we all need to learn history. This is the first section of Zhou. The next part, we're going to see some artifacts from Zhou dynasty. One of the most famous things that the Zhou people made is called bronze. And this is one of them. It's called tripod. In Chinese, it's called the ding. Let's take a look at this. Oh, it's not very clear. You see, ding. The function of a ding is just a pot, right? It's a cooking food, a cooking vessel. The head of the tile has motifs on it. Nice. Somebody have questions? I have seen that the head of the tile has motifs on it. Do they have particular meaning? Yes, some of them do have. Some of them are some decorations. You see, like that one we have seen before is a decoration. It doesn't have any particular meanings. But later we're going to see more tile ends. They have more decorations. Those have meanings. Like the one we have seen before, they are just the decorations. What is the tile? It's made of pottery or clay, clay. And the French, I don't know French. I know a bit of Russian, but I don't know French. Okay, just keep asking questions. I love people who have questions. And this is let's continue. This is also called tripod. It's called a tea. There's a pot we use to cook the food. Have you ever seen this before? Because you can see, I can find a lot of tripods in Chinese history. And see, this is one of the thing. It's a national treasure. National treasure is the most valuable artifacts in the museum. Shaanxi History Museum, a pleasure. Shaanxi History Museum have more than 18 groups of national treasures. You see, the reason why an artifact can be valuable usually is because it can help us understand history. Look at the middle inside of this pot. I can do this. You see some inscriptions. You see those inscriptions are ancient Chinese characters. Like I can't read them, but there are some experts who can explain them. So it told a story about two people. They are trading their lands, their property. It can help us understand the land system 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. So it's a valuable artifact. Except for the inscriptions, and here we can see a very interesting pattern. This is a monster. It's called the Tao Tie. Have you heard of him? Have you seen a movie called The Great Wall, directed by Zhang Yimou? The main character is Matt Damon, Jason Bourne. Have you seen that? Some foreigners and Chinese soldiers protect Chinese people on the Great Wall to kill those monsters. And those monsters are called Tao Tie. It's a pretty famous movie in China, but a little bit boring. Anyway, this is a Tao Tie monster. Yes, this is Tao Tie monster. According to Chinese legend, it's a monster that loves eating people. Yeah, it loves eating people. You see, it only has a head. It doesn't have a body. The reason why he doesn't have a body because he ate a lot of people. That one day he choked himself so that his body exploded. This is a very interesting history. I don't know why his body exploded, but it was reported by history. So that's the reason, not the real history, is like a myth, a fairy tale, and a fairy tale is not real. Anyway, he doesn't have a body. The reason why he doesn't have a body is because he loves eating people, that he ate too many people, his body exploded, which means it's a symbol of Greek. You see, this is a pot we use to cook food. We put this decoration here to warn people, don't eat too much. Have a disciplined life to serve the king well. You see, this artifact was from 3,000 years ago, the Western Zhou dynasty. This is the pot, and from 3,000 years ago. And here we can see musical instruments. It's called zhong, like chain bells, like bells. This is Chinese bells, not Western bells. It's different because we use a hammer to knock it instead of swing it. It's different bells. You see, there are eight different sizes, like 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 8 bells, right? But the size they only have 5 different sizes, not 8 different sizes, 5 different sizes, because those 4 they have the same size, and they have different sizes, which means 8 bells, 5 sizes, which means 5 different tones. So these chain bells can make 5 different tones. They are do, re, mi, so, la, without xi and fa. 5 tones in China is called gong, shang, jue, zhi, yu. You don't need to remember it, but if you're interested, you can check them on the internet. It's pretty interesting. Gong, shang, jue, zhi, yu was the traditional Chinese tones during Western Zhou dynasty. And we have a chengyu. Do you know chengyu? So if we meet a person who can't sing well, we say you can't make 5 tones. It's called wu yin bu quan. If you know Chinese, it's pretty interesting because all my Chinese tourists will laugh about it. You can make 5 tones in wu yin bu quan. You can't make 5 tones. It means you can't sing well, right? So chain bells, music. So here's a question: when will people play music? At what kind of circumstances will they play music? Will they listen to the music? Look at this picture. This big picture. You can see in the middle was the king, and other people you see, those are imperial lords and music. During Zhou dynasty, only when people are eating, they will play music. But those people are not normal people. They are imperial lords and the king, which you can also call them, oh dear, sorry. You can also call them royal family members. When Zhou dynasty was built, they built a system called the ritual system to rule their people. The ritual system is pretty much like what is called ritual. It's the same just like Britain. You see, England, they have royal family members. When they eat food, those spells remind me of, yes, Confucius, yes. Oh, this is Zhou dynasty. Confucius was from Zhou dynasty. Let me see those spells remind me of the Confucianism symbol. Are those the same type of bronze spell used to create the symbol? Nope, not quite the same. You see, Confucius, one of the greatest persons in our Chinese history, but do you know that Confucius was not pretty famous during Western Zhou dynasty? This is Western Zhou dynasty. Confucius was from Eastern Zhou dynasty. Do you know what's the Western Zhou and Eastern Zhou dynasty? It's not pretty complicated. The capital of Western Zhou dynasty was in Xi'an, which was in the west part of China. So it's called Western Zhou dynasty. The capital of Eastern Zhou dynasty was in Luoyang. It was in the east part of China. So Western Zhou dynasty, Eastern Zhou dynasty. Western Zhou dynasty started from 1024 BC to 770 BC. This is Western Zhou. Confucius was not born at that time. The Eastern Zhou dynasty, which is also called the Spring and Autumn period, it started from 770 BC to 221 BC. That was Spring and Autumn period. Confucius was from that time. This part is called the Western Zhou dynasty. So Confucius was not born at the time. So any symbol you see right now, they don't have any connection with Confucius. But thank you for asking the question. Here we can see 5 tripods. I just told you tripods are pots. We use them to cook food. And those are called gui in Chinese, which are food containers. 5 tripods and 4 food containers, they are the food vessels used by the imperial lords. The ritual system, it told people that different social status, they use different number of tripods and food containers. Like the king, when he is doing a ritual activity, like he is sacrificing, when he is doing a ritual activity, he will use 9 tripods and 8 food containers. And the imperial lord will use 7 tripods and 6 food containers. And for the government official, 5 and 4. If you have a higher social status, you can use more because it represents the social status of this royal family. Tripods, pots, food containers, gui. Right, let's keep going. This is Zhou dynasty. Those are the royal family members of Zhou dynasty. It's pretty interesting because during Zhou Dynasty, which is like 3,000 years ago, there was a group of people in China. Before eating food, they will wash their hands, right? When they eat food, they only use, you see, bronze vessels. When they eat food, they only use bronze. They don't use pottery. Before eating, they will wash their hands. When they are eating food, they will also listen to the music. Imagine this. If you imagine this, like 3,000 years ago, there are two groups of people. One group of people eat food without washing their hands. They eat food with pottery. They eat food without listening to the music. At the same time, the other group of people that eat food with pottery, with bronze, before they eating, they will wash their hands. See, they are different from each other. So that's the reason why they are higher than others, why they are in royal family members. All right, and here we can see some bronze vessels. This is very interesting one. This is very interesting. This is called the zun in Chinese. You see the shape of it. You see this part. How to say this? The upper part. You see the upper part is a circle, right? And the body of this vessel is a square. You see a circle and a square. It has some meanings. Do you know chopsticks? The part where it grabs the food is a circle, but the back is a square. Do anybody know how to speak place in Chinese? You can send it on the chat. I can see. Do you know how to speak place in Chinese? Nobody? Not yet. So Chinese word place is called 地方. Yes, exactly. 地方. Yes, 地方. So have you ever think about why it's called the 地方? 地 means the land. 方 means a square. So 地方, it actually means land is a square. You see, thousands of years ago, especially at this time, our people used to think that land is a big square and the sky is a big circle. Get it? The chopsticks, one part is a circle, other part is a square. And Chinese word place is called 地方. It actually means land is a square. It's really interesting. You see in the middle of this part? This is also a taotie. This vessel is also a wine vessel. We use them to
Ritual sacrifices.
No, ritual sacrifices. We use them to hold some wine and give them to gods. So this decoration perhaps to warn people, do not drink too much. It's harmful for your body. Have a disciplined life. Let's see this part. And here we can see some shells. What's the function of shells? This is quite interesting. They are not decorations. Yeah, thank you. They are, I speak interesting a lot because.
Yes, money.
Yeah, yes, money. Exactly, currency. Very smart. But why they were money? If you live near the ocean, you can find shells anywhere. But this is Shaanxi province. The middle is in the middle of our country. And imagine this, like 3,000 years ago, we didn't have roads, not a lot of roads. So not all Shaanxi people have the chance to see real shells. When the businessmen from the shore, they took shells to Shaanxi province, our people thought that they were beautiful and they are small, easy to take, so they were money. The reason why they are valuable because they are rare to find. That's the reason why they are money. Do you know how to speak baby in Chinese? Baby in Chinese, like honey in Chinese. Have your teacher teach you how to speak baby in Chinese? 有没有? Anyone? Yes, 宝贝. You know what does it mean? It means precious shells. Interesting, right? Precious shells. Yes, 宝贝. You can also call your girlfriend 宝贝. She's gonna be very happy. We don't call our girlfriends honey. We call them 宝贝. I call my girlfriend 宝贝. Let's keep going. And here we can also see another vessel. This is also a wine vessel. You see in the middle? The big taotie. To warn people, don't drink too much. See the shape of this vessel looks like a house. Because the idea, the design of this vessel is a house. You see wine vessel. And another wine vessel. Also wine vessel. You see all the bronze vessels here, most of them are wine vessels. Now, this is also a wine vessel. Why are they wine vessels? It's because, imagine this, bronze. At that time, they didn't have iron. They only have bronze. Bronze is pretty expensive for normal people, for peasants. So peasants cannot afford them. Only royal family members can use them. It was written in the law. Only royal family members can use bronze. But the royal family members, they don't need to farm. They don't need to kill, to fight. What did they do normally? They just drink and eat and listen to the music. That's the reason why you see lots of food containers, food vessels, wine vessels, and music instruments. Let's keep going. This is also a wine vessel. It is a really cute one of my favorites. It's called a gong in Chinese. It's pretty cute. This actually is a dragon. It looks like a snail, but it's a dragon. It's called a gong in Chinese. It's a wine vessel. It's pretty heavy, right? So here's a question. How did our people make those wine vessels like this? What's the technology they use to make those vessels? It's actually pretty simple. They use some clay, like pottery, to make a mold, and then melt the bronze into liquid and pour the liquid into the mold. When the liquid cools down, they break the mold. That's how they make it. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty hard to do. And also because of the technology, you see all the artifacts here you are seeing right now, they are unique, which means there is only one of them. Once you have a finish making it, you have to break the mold. So you can't see two same bronze things here. So this is Zhou dynasty. After Zhou is called Qin. Now this is a very important dynasty in Chinese history. You see, the Qin period. It starts from 770 BC to 221 BC. This is called the Qin Kingdom. Qin Kingdom. Qin Kingdom means at this time, Qin was just a small kingdom. The dynasty at that time is still Xia and Shang dynasty. It was just a small kingdom. It obeys the order of Xia and Shang dynasty. Until 221 BC, Qin Kingdom united China. They built a new dynasty, which is called the Qin dynasty. Do you know the reason why our country's name is called China? It is because of Qin. I used to read some news and some information from other museums. I visited other museums, and the introduction of other museums in China told me that Qin was the reason why our country's name is called China. It's not because of porcelain, it's because of Qin. You see, when Qin dynasty united China, our country became pretty powerful. After Qin dynasty, it was Han dynasty. During Han dynasty, we sent an army to fight with Huns. Do you know Huns? Like Attila of Huns. And we defeated Huns. Huns were defeated, so they ran away to west part of the world, to Europe. At that time, European people, I believe they spoke Latin or Latino, and how to say Latin language, right? The Latin people, they speak Latin language, like a Latin language like to plus an R after a word like China. I don't know if I explain it right, like China. Do you know how to speak Qin in French? How to speak China in French is Qin, right? Perhaps they have some connection with this dynasty. Do they have any question? I don't know if I explain it right, but I think I have met some people, some teachers, experts. They told me that the reason why our country's name is called China is because of Qin, because of Han nation. Huns, not Han, it's Han, Hun. Huns told European people there is a country in the east part of the world. It is called Qin, so they call us Qin. Like in French people call our country Qin, right? China. Most of the foreigners, they don't know how to speak Qin correctly. They always speak Qin, so China, so China. It's interesting. And here we can see a huge relic here. These bronze dragons. There are actually 2 bronze dragons here. Pretty cute, but pretty big. In Qing history, most of the relics they made were huge. The Great Wall, terracotta warriors, the mausoleum of the first emperor, and the big palaces. Most of the things that the Qing people made are really huge. The reason why they were huge because Qing people think that big thing can make them look powerful. The Qing kingdom is pretty powerful, so they can make huge things. And the Qing dynasty, right, in the beginning, it's just a small kingdom. The Qing kingdom spent 550 years, eventually unite China and build Qing dynasty. Qing dynasty was one of the most important dynasties in Chinese history. Not only because they built those terracotta warriors, they built the Great Wall, it's also because the Qing dynasty, they united all the people's characters, the first emperor asked all the people to use the same character, Hanzi. And they united the measurements. I don't know how to say that. The measuring. Anyway, forget it. Measurement. And they unite measurement to ask the people use the same weight, like a kilogram and grams. And they also ask all the people to use the same language, the same character. He did a lot of things. He asked all people to use the same currency. And here's the terracotta warriors, also one of the products from Qing dynasty. This is one of the most famous things in China. When foreigners know about China, sometimes the first thing they know is terracotta warriors and the Great Wall. Those are real artifacts. They are not replicas. Let's see a very special one, this one. All the terracotta warriors, they have 3 characters. The first character is they all have different faces, like this one has different faces. You can't see them, right? There's one person. The first character of terracotta warriors is they all have different faces. The second character of terracotta warriors is they are tall. I mean, actually, they were pretty tall. The same height like a normal person. The third character is they all have color. You see the face? See that? White color. See the knees? Green color. And the hand, also white color. Look at the details of terracotta warriors. See their fingernail? Amazing, right? Fingernail. And you see his eyebrows, his beard. Oh my God, it's pretty amazing, right? And actually in his hands, there was a weapon, but it's made of wood. It has broken, so we took them away. And here we can see a stone armor. Yeah, pretty cool. It's a stone armor. It actually was made of stone. It must be pretty heavy, right? Yes, it is like 60 grams, like 30 kilograms. Normal soldiers, they don't wear them because it's too heavy. Normal people cannot run with them. Like we are having a battle, we are fighting. The most important thing is the speed. Like the soldiers, if they are faster than his enemy, they can kill this guy quicker. But when you wear a stone armor, it will make you slow. And also at that time, all the weapons were made of bronze. And the bronze swords are not so sharp. Use a leather can protect yourself. You don't need a stone. So it's just a thing we put in the mausoleum. Like terracotta warriors, they're all burial objects. The burial objects of the first emperor. So Qin Shi Huang, he was the first emperor of China. He united China, the leader of Qin. When he united China, he let his people build a huge palace and many terracotta warriors. Those are the soldiers to help him protect his tomb in underground. Amazing, right? So they all have different faces. They are pretty tall. And here we can see a carriage, bronze carriage. This one is not a real artifact. This is not a real relic. This is a reproduction. Replica. Oh, not replica. It's a replica. The real one was in the Terracotta Warriors Museum. Perhaps next week you can see the real one. A bronze carriage. And here we can see some birds, a swan goose, and wild goose. Those are also the burial objects of the first emperor. Do you know why our emperor let his people make all of those things? Like the clay soldiers, like bronze birds. You know why? Because Chinese people used to think that there is an underworld, right? Afterlife. There is an afterlife. When people die, their spirits will go to the afterlife. So have you ever seen some Chinese people burn some ghost money during the Qingming festival? Have you seen that? In Chinatown, some people will, yes, next week will be the Qingming festival. Yes, Qingmingjie will come soon, like next week, Qingmingjie. At that time, when you go to the Chinatown, you can see some Chinese people burn some ghost money, some paper money. They are not real money. The reason why we burden is because we think that if we burden, those money can go to the afterlife. Our family who have passed away will receive them in the afterlife. You see the Qin Shi Huang, they bury all of those buried objects underground because he believed that when he died, he can have all those palaces and strong goods, wealth goods, and soldiers to protect him in the afterlife. Do you get it? Yeah. There is also another human figure here. We have seen some terracotta warriors, but this one is different. It was also excavated in Terracotta Warriors Museum at that part, but this is not a warrior. This is an official. If you can see it, it's called terracotta figure of an official. Yeah, this handsome. Do you know why he is an official? The first is because his face, you see, is pretty peaceful, not like soldier. Look at his hand. Yeah, not the soldier. But the most important part is this. This is a knife and a bamboo joint. Yeah. Do you know how to write delete in Chinese? Can anybody send a delete in the group? Shan. Do you know how to write 删除 的 shan? Can you send it in the group? Yeah. Nobody. History can sometimes be pretty boring. I'm trying to make it interesting. So just if I ask a question, just answer me. Do anybody know how to speak Shan or write Shan? Shan, you send a Shan. I will ask my assistant to send a Shan inside so you can see them. Yes, send it. Look at this. This is Shan, which is delete in China. You see the left. You see this Shan looks like a bamboo and a knife. Shan to the Shan is delete. Delete is a bamboo and a knife. Because in ancient times, before we invented papers, we used to write characters on bamboo joints. What if you make a mistake? We use a knife to delete it. That's the reason why Shan exists. This character has this thing. Let's keep going. This is Qin dynasty. The Qin dynasty was the first dynasty which united China, but this dynasty only lasts 15 years. So as a kingdom, this Qin kingdom lasts for more than 550 years, but as a dynasty, Qin dynasty only has had 15 years. What's the reason of that? Imagine this. If you are the peasant of Qin dynasty, you work very hard every day. You pay lots of taxes to your government. But what did they use your money for? Right, that's the question. You pay lots of taxes. You work every single day. You can't even feed themselves. You still pay taxes. But the government used your money to help the emperor build a big palace, clay soldiers, bronze birds. Imagine this. You can't even feed yourself. The government used your money to make some clay soldiers. Well, this is pretty unfair. I can't even feed myself. So peasants are pretty mad. They are really mad. So people began to start revolutions. Eventually, Qin dynasty was destroyed by farmers, by peasants, by normal people. After Qin dynasty, oh my God, I'm tired. After Qin dynasty, it's called the Han dynasty. This is the, remember, fifth dynasty of Chinese history, the Han dynasty. It started from 202 BC to 220 AD. It lasts more than 422 years. It's a very important dynasty for Chinese people. Imagine this. What's the language we speak? It's called Hanyu, right? Yeah, what's the nation of most of Chinese people? We are called the Hanzu, Han nation. And the clothes we were wearing is called the Hanfu. Most of them was because of Han dynasty. This dynasty was really powerful. The reason why it's powerful because Han people, they have learned some experience from Qin dynasty. They knew the reason why Qin dynasty was destroyed because they wasted a lot of money to build big palaces, to build big terracotta warriors. They wasted a lot of money. So this government, this new government, didn't ask his people to pay lots of taxes. They didn't ask his people to build palaces. And also in the beginning of the Han Dynasty, there weren't a lot of big population. There weren't lots of people. You see, not many people. We have a big land, and we don't need to pay lots of taxes. So the farmers can have a peaceful life. So they can develop their economic. That's the reason why Han was pretty powerful. And here we can see 4 tiles here. Right. There was a student 2 minutes ago asked me, is there any meaning of those patterns? This part, we can see 4 tiles with four patterns. They all have some meanings. Like, let me change the camera like this. Look, you see the first one is a dragon. It's called the dragon. In Chinese, we call them long. The second one is called a white tiger. Qinglong, it means green dragon. Baihu means white tiger. Zhuqu, it means red phoenix. And Xuanwu, it means black turtle. I mean, actually, this is not a real turtle. This is a snake and a turtle. Those 4 creatures are the 4 guardians of our nation. Like the long, the dragon, is the guardian of East. Tiger is the guardian of West. Phoenix is the guardian of South. And the Xuanwu is the guardian of North. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I have a friend in Xi'an. She was from South Africa. One day I told him those are the guardians of Chinese directions. She even made a tattoo of them. I strongly don't recommend it. It's not really good. It's not pretty cool, but it's pretty cool. I don't know. It's not cool to make a tattoo, but those creatures are pretty cool. It's part of Chinese culture. If one day you can visit Xi'an, when you go to visit our city wall, the southern gate, the eastern gate, the western gate, the northern gate, they have all those creatures. Like the southern gate has lots of phoenix patterns. The northern gate has lots of turtle patterns. This is part of Chinese culture. And here we can see this one. This is a national treasure of our museum. It's called incense burner. Incense burner is more like pretty much like a perfume, but not the perfume that like right now. It's you put some spice inside and the burden it will give you a pleasant smell to help you clean the air of your house. And this is a national treasure. It's made of silver. It's made of bronze, not silver. It's made of bronze, but gilded some gold and silver. That's the reason why the first time you see it, it looks like made of pure gold. It's not pure gold. It's bronze, gilded some gold and silver. Look at the bottom. I think it's pretty clear. See, this is dragon. Actually, on the bottom there are 2 dragons. Yeah, 2 dragons. See this. Here you can see 3 dragons. You see they are also dragons. And here, see they are also dragons. This part, it has 4 dragons. This part has 3 dragons. This part has 2 dragons. So in total, this incense burner has 9 dragons. And here are bamboo joints. There are 5 bamboo joints. 9 dragons and 5 bamboo joints together. They mean a chong in Chinese. It's called a jiu zhizun. Jiu zhizun. You send it. Jiu zhizun. I will add my assistant to send it. Jiu zhizun, and it means the power of the emperor. Like this. Jiu zhizun. Power of the emperor. And here we can see a female figure. Look at the way how she sit. Right, sit. How she sit. Yeah, sit. She looks like Korean or Japanese people, right? They're pretty similar. There's a question. Did all Chinese people used to sit on chairs? The answer is no. Because in the beginning of Chinese history, not everybody sit on chairs. We used to all sit on the floor, just like Japanese people and Korean people. And after 220 AD, when the nomadic tribes from north invaded our country, they gave us a new thing. We call them chairs. After 220 AD, we began to have chairs. That's the time when Chinese people began to sit on the chair. But before 220 AD, all people just sit on the floor like this woman, just like Korean people and Japanese people. And this part, we can see some Yeah, terracotta warriors from Han Dynasty. Those are cute versions. Yeah, compared with the first gallery, they are pretty cute and small. Look, this is the hand, and those are terracotta warriors from Han Dynasty. They're pretty small, right? You see, I just told you that during Han Dynasty, people have learned some experiences from Qin Dynasty. They knew the reason why Qin Dynasty was destroyed because they wasted a lot of money to make big terracotta warriors. So during Han Dynasty, they made smaller version. And also you can see their color, the white color, is because of the technology. During Qing Dynasty, when they have a finished building, when they have finished making those terracotta warriors, they put the color on the outside of it. But during Han Dynasty, before they, it's pretty hard to explain. Before they make those, they use fire to make those terracotta warriors. They will put color inside. I don't know if I explained right. If you have any questions, just ask it. Right. There are two different types of terracotta warriors from Han Dynasty. You see, this is the first type. You see, they don't have clothes on them because when they finish making them, they put real clothes on them, put the real armor, the real weapons on them, and they wrote it so you can't see them. And this is the second type of terracotta warriors. When they are making them, they put some, how to explain. The second type of terracotta warriors, when they are making them, they just make clothes on them, not real clothes, real clothes. Oh, let's keep going. This is a barbecue tool. It hasn't changed for 1,000 years. This 2,000 years ago is barbecue thing. This is a basin. We use it to clean the new baby, give a bath to the infant. Oh, like bathtub. Oh my God, machine. And here is the tripod from Han Dynasty. It looks more like the tripod we use right now. Not tripod. It looks more like the pot we use right now, and more human figures. And here we can see more tail ends. Yeah, those tail ends are pretty unique. On the surface of those tail ends are some Chinese characters. The inscriptions, the meaning of all those inscriptions, most of them are like some wishing word. How to say that? Like wish you happy, wish you have a happy life, wish you have more babies. There are some translation here. See, the end with inscription meaning peace of prosperity. And most of the tail ends, the meaning of the inscriptions are some happy wishing characters to wish you have more babies, to wish you have a happy year, like that. And here we can see a new thing. A new type of thing is called iron. In the first gallery, all the metals we have seen were bronze, but here we can see iron. This is the new tool they use right now. So before iron, all Chinese people, all Chinese farmers, they use stone to farm. But when they had iron, they can use iron to farm. It's quicker and more efficient. And Han people, they spend a lot of time on their agriculture to invent new farming tools to help them farm quicker than before. And that's the reason why Han was so powerful, because they have enough food to eat. And here we can see some pottery vessels. Yeah, those are some burial objects. I mean, okay. Those are some barns, pottery barns. Barns, which means they are food containers, a bigger one. But those are some model of barns, not real barns. Yeah, barn, can you send the Chinese meaning of barn? It's called a liangcang. But those are not real liangcang. They are the storage of food. They are yes, liangcang. They are the storage and burial objects. Now during Han Dynasty, because people were rich, they put lots of burial objects in their tomb, like barns, like many animals, like you can see a cow, not cow, it's an ox, like a dog, like a pig, and like a rooster, a duck. They put lots of things in their tomb because they believe that when they die, they can take them to the afterlife and to eat them in the afterlife. Just like right now, sometimes we not just burn ghost money, we also burn some paper iPhone, paper iPad, paper airplane, paper helicopter, anything you want, Xbox, Yeah, because we think those are money. Those are treasures right now. But during Han Dynasty, people think that food was the most valuable things. So they put food in their tombs. Whew. Questions? Yeah, I hope you haven't fallen asleep. Because history, yeah, I'm trying to make it interesting. And here we can see some Priscillian. This is called Priscillian. We also call them China, which is the name of our country. I've told you the reason why our country's name is called China is not because of Priscillian, it's because of Qin Dynasty. This is called Priscillian. In the first category, we have seen some pottery. Do you know what's the difference between pottery and China? It's because of the glaze. Do you know glaze? In Chinese, we call them yu, is the shining part. Yeah, the shining part. Yeah, look at this finger, her finger. Yeah, shining part. Those are glaze. So glaze is pretty difficult to make. It requires a higher temperature than pottery. If you use clay, which is the material of pottery, if you use clay to make China, you will make a lot of glasses, broken glasses, not China. So China requires a special material. It's called golden clay, a different special clay that can tolerate the high temperature. And here we can see some jade. Yes, compared with the first category, jade from Han Dynasty was more beautiful, actually. The function of those jade, you can't imagine it. Can you imagine the function of jade is pretty weird for people right now. The function of jade during Han Dynasty is pretty weird. They put jades in the holes of dead people's body because they think when dead people have jade in the holes of their body can make their body not rot. Do you get it? We think jade can protect our bodies so that when the body, what is it? Yeah, you see those eyes, you can see two jades on their eyes, two jades on their nose, one jade in their mouth, and two jades in their air holes. They put the jade in the 9 holes of their body so that their body will not rot. This is a superstitious. Can you see that? Like superstitious? Yes, it's a superstition. It's not real. Han people even use jade to make clothes and let dead people to wear them. But it actually is not helpful. Look at this picture. Jade clothes. They let dead people wear those jade clothes because they think when dead people wear them, their body will not rot. This is not helpful and pretty expensive. After Han Dynasty, people they didn't make them anymore. And here we can see some gold. Yeah. I found a very interesting fact, which is you see Chinese people love jade. Some Western people love amber and agate, but we all love gold. Don't know why, I don't know. All human beings love gold. It's part of human nature because they're expensive, they're beautiful. I don't know. Gold is just so shimmering, and all people love them. Of course, gold coins, they are not the currency that normal people use. It's the national currency between two countries. Like if China wants to trade with Indonesia, with India, we use gold, not bronze. Here are bronze. Normal people use it. Yeah, look at the shape. Circle and square, because our people used to think that our sky is a big circle, our land is a big square. Those are the money at the time, bronze. And the way, how did the people make those currency? By this. Yeah, it's called mold. Yeah, you melt the bronze into liquid and pour them inside. Those are pretty much like money printer. Now they used to make money. Yeah, so you can imagine it's pretty easy for those people to make fake money. There were lots of fake money at the time. The government tried to control it, but most of the time they failed. That's really interesting. And this is the thing that they use to test if the money is real money. You see, the reason why bronze money is valuable is because of the weight of it. Like banliang, it actually means 0.33 gram, and like that. So the government will give some, how to say, official weight of a banliang, like 0.33. Like this one is official. Can you point it? Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. This the government. The government sent it to the to the market. This is an official banliang. The official 0.33 gram. If you want to test if the money is real, 天平怎么说？ Tianping. Chinese. Do you know Tianping in Chinese? It's like a I'll ask my assistant to check it. Let's keep going.
Balance.
What balance? Yes. If you want to test if the money is real, you use a balance. On the left part of the balance, you put the banliang, the money you want to test. On the left part of the balance, you put the official banliang. If the balance is equal, it's real money. If it's not, it's fake. So next one, this is called 捕手. Have you seen any of them in China? Have you seen them on pictures? Can somebody send a yes? I want to check if you are listening. Yeah, this is called 捕手 in Chinese. Usually they showed up with a big circle in their mouth. I will ask my assistant to check some pictures. So this is called a picture. This is the decoration of the door. Like this. They usually show up with a big circle here. Our people think that with a circle in a monster's mouth can protect us from evil things. This is called a 捕手. And this are belt buckles. Belt buckles. Right? It's called belt buckles. And a bronze mirror. This is a mirror. When did jade started to be used to make stamps to sign official? Yeah, this is a good question. Actually, it started from a long time ago. Yes, a long time ago. Like from, I think already from Qin Dynasty, people began to use jade to make jade stamps. Yeah, because we love jade. We think jade were pure, like a true gentleman. In Chinese, it's called 君子. We have a sentence called 君子连如玉. We love jade because it's so pure that if being a man should be like 君子, you should be pure. And yeah, 人, like that, what the Confucius said, you can all find them from jade. It's pretty pure. The color is white, like a true gentleman should be like a jade. Like jade stamps. When like Qin Dynasty, the emperor used jade to make jade stamps to represent the country. But we didn't have many jade stamps in this museum because usually the jade stamps of a country, of a dynasty, should be buried in the emperor's tomb, emperor's mausoleum. But according to Chinese law, we normally won't open the mausoleum of the Asian emperor because we were afraid of the technology we are having right now cannot protect them. That's the reason why you cannot find lots of jade stamps in most of the museum. But if you go to Beijing, in the National Museum of Beijing, you might can find some of the jade stamps, like jade stamps from Qin Dynasty. You might can find them. Bronze mirrors. This is only one of them. Here you can see more bronze mirrors. Do you know bronze mirrors? See, in the beginning, we didn't have the mirrors like right now. So people, they polish the bronze, use the shining part to show their face, to how to say that, to use them, yeah, to reflect your faces. And those are the back parts of the mirrors. They are not the front part. The front part has rusted. So we don't show you that part. We'll show you the back part. You see, so sophisticated. You see the decorations. Can't imagine it. At that time, they didn't have machines. They are just using their knives and the clay to make them. It's pretty amazing. Let's keep going. Yeah, terracotta warriors from Han Dynasty. Actually, in all Chinese history, in Chinese history, all period, we make terracotta warriors in all period of Chinese history. Like not only Qin Dynasty had them, but also Han Dynasty had them, Qin Dynasty had them, all dynasties in China, they made terracotta warriors. But they are quite different. Like you see the Qin Dynasty, they made huge terracotta warriors. But during Han Dynasty, those are smaller versions. Those were smaller versions because they learned the lesson from Qin Dynasty, right? That's not what I want to say, right? What I want to say is horsemen. Look at them. In the first gallery, we have seen lots of terracotta warriors from Qin Dynasty. None of them have horsemen. But during Han Dynasty, you see horsemen. But why did Han Dynasty begin to use horsemen? Why? because they had a very powerful enemy at that time. It is called Hans. Hans starts from, I think it started from 200 BC. They became a very powerful nomadic tribe at that time. So when they became really powerful, they began to invade our country. Like during Han Dynasty, 202 BC to 220 AD, they invaded us a lot. In the beginning of Han Dynasty, because our country was poor, we cannot fight back. But after 70 years, 60 years, because the new policies and because our country became very powerful, we decided to fight back. But the emperor knew that if you want to fight with Hans, you cannot use infantry. Infantry can never defeat horsemen. The only way of defeating Hans is by using horsemen. So Han people began to import good horses from Western regions. They raised a lot of horsemen. And eventually, the used horsemen defeat Hans. This is a sculpture that can show you we defeated Hans at that time. See, this is a Han. Yeah, it's pretty cute. Actually, it's not pretty cute. See, a Han under a horse's feet, which means Han Dynasty used to defeat Han. There's something you should know is Han is our country. Hans is the nomadic tribe. Hans is called H-U-N, spelled as H-U-N. Han spells like H-A-E. It's different. So Han Dynasty also did a very important thing. They built a road. It's called Silk Road. I think in Italy, the experts think that Italian people, Roman people, they built Silk Road. But in China, we think we built the Silk Road. It doesn't matter which country built them first. We had them. It's pretty great. So that's enough. In China, we think of Zhang Qian, a very famous person in China. During Han Dynasty, he went to the Western regions. He built this Silk Road. But the reason why he built this Silk Road is not because he wanted to trade silk. It's because he wanted to find an ally to help our country fight with Hans. It's not because we want to trade silk, but gradually this road became a trade road. And here we can see the new period. It's called the Visite dynasty. Yeah, it's getting more and more complicated, right? But it doesn't matter. This is 220 AD to 581 AD, Visite dynasties. At this time, Han Dynasty was destroyed. Our country was separated into many different small kingdoms. At the same time, Hans began to fight back again. At this time, this nomadic tribe began to invade our country again, and they built a lot of kingdoms in the north part of China. So that this time, the main substance of this time is called conflict and fusion. Many nomadic tribes invade our country. Their culture and our culture exchange with each other. Eventually, they made a very beautiful and colorful culture. And here we can see, yeah, this is smaller. See. This is a stone tomb door. This is a very sophisticated artifact. That's a tomb door. See, the upper part, you can see in the middle is a picture. In the middle, there are 3 camels. On their back is fire. This is fire religion from Persia. And let's see this part. Grapes and lions, 2 lions, and grapes, and camels, and look at all those human figures. You see those human? They have a curly hair, big nose, which means they are foreigners. This is a stone tomb door. The owner of this door is not a Chinese. He was a foreigner at that time. He went to China, viewed the Silk Road, and became a government official in China. When he died, he asked his servants to bury himself in China. This is a symbol of cultural exchange, just like the stone lions you have seen in the first gallery. And also you can see some Buddha. Oh, Buddha. It is not polite to take pictures with Buddha. So I just skip this part. So it is not really polite to take pictures, to film those Buddha. Is a disrespect, but for learning is fine. So Buddhist is not a Chinese religion. Right? We all know that it is a religion from India, and we respect that. Buddha was from India. Because of Silk Road, Buddhism came to China. Okay. So Wei dynasty was not pretty important because the capitals of Wei dynasties were not in Xi'an. So we can skip that part and came to Tang Dynasty. This is one of the most glorious time of China, Tang Dynasty. Do you know Chinatown? In Chinese, Chinatown is called Tang Yunjie. Tang Yunjie, it means the streets of Tang people. Many Chinese immigrants regarded themselves as the children of Tang people. This is the Tang Dynasty. This is a map of the capital, Chang'an. The capital of the Tang Dynasty was in Xi'an. But at that time, this city was not called Xi'an. This city was called Chang'an. It's one of the biggest cities in the whole world with over 1 million population. Tang people spent 9 months to build this city. Only 9 months, right? But it became a city that can hold 1 million population. And also because Chang'an was the capital of the Tang Dynasty, and also because of the Silk Road, many businessmen came to this city. They learned culture and other things and the systems from this city. So there was 1 million population, but 5% of them were foreigners. Tang Dynasty, the capital, and here, let's keep going. Those are some construction materials, stone bricks. It's really beautiful. See lotus, lots of lotus pattern, lotus pattern, and here some square bricks with beast face image. Oh, remember, they are also stone bricks, but they are decorations of the floor. We don't actually step on it. And the more lotus tail end. Yeah, tail end. And this is called a pusho in Chinese. We have seen some of them before, right? Some silver locks. Yeah, those are locks, spring locks. Keep going. Tang Dynasty is a very famous dynasty in China. Many culture of this dynasty was pretty famous. One of them is during Tang Dynasty, people think fat, not like fat ladies are beautiful. They think fat is beauty. How to say that? Yes, fat is a beauty, and many people try to be fat. Many women, ladies try to be fat because they think fat is beautiful. And here you can also see 2 ladies. They are fat, but you see the clothes they are wearing. Those are male's clothes, not female's clothes. During Tang Dynasty, our country had a female emperor. Her name is called Wu Zetian. Have you heard of him? Heard of her? Like Yekaterina of Russian. She's the first and the only female emperor of China. At this time, the social status of female were higher than ever. That a female can wear men's clothes. They can do anything they want. They can marry the boy they love. They can wear men's clothes. They can play polo. They can do anything. Let's keep going. The Tang Dynasty was pretty famous and important. And here we can see some artifacts. Yeah, first, this is a gold ball made by pure gold. Many gold. Look at this. Look at this part. You can see in the middle. It's a swan goose. Here, you can see a deer. And on the outside of this gold ball were full of decorations. You see exactly full of decoration. There is no empty parts. A pure gold ball. A pure gold ball. During Tang Dynasty, not all people can use gold balls. It's not allowed for normal government officials. Only the most important officials can use gold ball. And this part is a gold. Yeah, this one is a gold wine cup. And here you can see a gold basin, pure gold basin. We have to be quicker because the close time of this museum is 6 o'clock. We only have 15 minutes and more. bronze mirrors. It's pretty elegant. Yeah, and bronze mirrors. And the tri-colored pottery. 我们在 wait a second， 我们刚刚在楼下一直在直播，就保安都知道我们的事情，已经说过了。Wait a second. The security guy is asking. 我们在1楼直播的时候就没有问题。Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, it's time to close the museum. We still have 15 minutes, so I will show you the last, some more artifacts here. The most valuable artifacts. I mean, visiting a museum in China can be pretty tired because we have many artifacts here. I cannot use 90 minutes to tell you the whole history of what happened in China. But this is pretty, this can make Chinese people proud because we used to have all those history things. Like, you see those female figures, they are beautiful with fancy hair and beautiful clothes. At this time, the female actually are enjoying their life. They are riding horses. They even wear foreigners' clothes, men's clothes. You see, Muslim hats. They can decorate themselves in any way they want, any way they like, because they had the female emperor. The female became the emperor at that time. See, she's not a queen. She actually controlled the country, not like a queen, but a true emperor. In China, we call emperor Huangdi. We call queen Huanghou. But we call this woman Huangdi, which means she's the true emperor at the time. See those people? They are playing polo. You know, polo is like a golf on horses, and people are hunting. Look at those sophisticated sophisticated figures. These are amazing. Tang Dynasty was truly the most powerful and glorious period of Chinese history. Yeah, this is zodiac animals. You can see a rat, an ox, a monkey, a tiger. This is a rabbit, alligator, dragon, and horse, a goat, and a monkey, and rooster, and dog, and pig. Zodiac animals. And this is also a national treasure. This one is the most beautiful tricolor pottery. You see, on the camel's back is a musical band. In the middle is a singer. Other people, they are playing music. There are Chinese music and Western music. Can you see the harp? Yeah, the yellow clothes, the harp 竖琴最右边那个，最右边的 yeah 别动，你别动 yeah this one. See the yellow clothes? This is a harp, Western musical instrument. Tang Dynasty embraced all cultures in the whole world, including Western instruments. See, Tang people, yes, it's called Tang Sanzai. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Yes, Sanzai. San in Chinese, in Asian Chinese, it doesn't mean 3. It actually means more. Actually means more. And also, see the camel, the detail, and more camels. Tang Dynasty was powerful, so it attracts a lot of people from all over the world. Many Persian businessmen, Japanese students, they came to our country and learn our culture, and we also learn from them. Our culture exchange are from both sides. They learn from us, we learn from them. And at this part, we can see more human figures. Those were from Ming Dynasty, which is after Tang Dynasty. You see, Tang Dynasty was really, really powerful, but that eventually was destroyed as well. Like all dynasties in China, Tang, even though it was really powerful, but it was also destroyed. Tang Dynasty started from 618 AD to 907 AD. After 907, Tang was destroyed. When Tang was destroyed, Xi'an city was not the capital of China anymore. From Zhou Dynasty to Tang Dynasty, our city used to be the capital of China for 1300 years. But after Tang, it's not anymore. This part of the museum show you the artifacts after Tang Dynasty, like this one. This is the last national treasure we can see today. It's a kettle. We usually call this kettle the magical kettle because look carefully. It doesn't have a lid. it doesn't have a lid. So here comes the question. How do you put alcohol inside? You cannot actually open this kettle. So how do you open this kettle? How do you put the wine inside? I have a video here. Look, in the bottom of this kettle is a hole. When you want to put the alcohol inside, you put the kettle upside down. You pour the alcohol from the hole in the bottom. When it is full, you put it upside down again. Only little of the liquor will leave this kettle. Most of them will just keep inside. This is a kettle without lid. One of the national treasures. Porcelain. It was from Wu is after Tang Dynasty. It's pretty much like 1,000 years ago. And here we can see more Buddha. If you are interested in this artifact, I made a video of Shaanxi Museum. You can check that artifact on the video. And this is the last Buddha in the museum, the last artifact we see today. We should leave right now because the museum will be closed soon. So far we have seen so many artifacts, right? Like 3,000 of them. I can't tell you the whole story about the Shaanxi province. Post the link for the video. I don't have a link. You can ask your teacher for the video. I think there is one. Ask your teacher about it. I don't have the link about it. So this is the artifacts I can show you for today. Our museum have more than 1.7 million artifacts. Today, I only show you not even 100 of them. It's already been amazing. I mean, history in China is very long. We have the history about for like 5,000 years. It's long and beautiful. It's the history that make us Chinese people. So I don't know how many things you can accept today. Did you learn anything from me? But I'm really happy and glad to teach you the history of Xi'an. Oh, let go. Okay. Go on the upper left, you see the script leaf. You can copy the link. Okay, I will check that. At what point in China's history the glazed pottery started to be more decorative like the white? Yes, I think it's from Song Dynasty. Baizi and Qingzi should be from, I think during Song Dynasty it became really famous, but before Song Dynasty we already have them. I think that's about Tang Dynasty. During Tang Dynasty we began to have a white glazed pottery and green glazed pottery. I didn't show you because the museum is closed right now. But you see, remember the pottery, the pottery vessel, the last national treasure I just showed you, that's a green glazed pottery. Any more questions? I should probably leave, but if you have more questions, I can keep answering you till 6 o'clock. Yeah, we can. Yeah, this is it. This is all we have today. Thank you for joining this class. I hope you have learned something today.
谢谢，十分感谢。Merci à vous tous d'avoir suivi. N'oubliez pas que le cours de cet après-midi, ce sera à 15 heures. À partir de 15 heures, le cours de chinois. Merci, 谢谢，十分感谢。
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to show you the history. Yeah, this is me. 拜拜。
拜拜。哎，等等，
再见。
你先别挂，我拍上一张照片。
OK。
你刚撩了个头发，等等，我拿这个截屏，庞老师要截屏。好了，谢谢。
Pleasure. Merci. 谢谢，没关系，谢谢。Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Bye bye.